Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today I've got a cylinder that has got it's got damage to one cylinder head stud and the other one is broke off. So we're going to have to remove the last one. Hopefully we can get it out. If not, then we'll have to drill it and still remove it. But it'll be a lot easier if it'll just come out. And the gentleman that's this belongs to, he said all of them were hard coming out, and he had one that he couldn't get out, and then the stud broke off on the one that is left. So hopefully we'll get it out, but we've got to repair at least one of them with a Heli-coil at this time, and if the other one comes out in the same fashion as that one, we'll be doing too. So let me get you overhead here and we'll take a peek at what we have to work on today. Okay, here's the cylinder. It's Suzuki TS400, and these studs can be a real bear to remove sometimes. I haven't seen one broke off in a while, but we've got this one here, came out very hard. Let me see if I can get that toned down a little bit. So I think you can see in here how the damage to this one, and this one over here is stuck. It's not wanting to come out. So we're going to try to remove it and repair this one for sure. If not, this one also. You may remember this bike was the one that I bought here in the state and sent out of state to a gentleman that bought it. And it didn't sound very noisy at the time, but he wants me to check it. So we'll be doing the piston to cylinder fit just to see if we need to do anything. But you know, right now the big thing is just repairing these threads up here. You know, the manufacturer puts these in with a Loctite product. I don't really think it's Loctite. It's kind of white, and it is just a bear to get out, and you almost always have to have heat, and it doesn't melt like Loctite does when you bring it up to heat. And what happens is it ends up they just put it on the bottom couple of threads, and over time I guess it just really solidifies, and it generally pulls those last 2 or 3 threads out and takes all the ones above them out as it comes, you know, if you can get it out. And that's kind of what looks like happened here. But anyhow, let's get over and do that, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, you can see right here we've got one broken off stud we've got to get out, and back here we've got a one that the threads are pulled out of the cylinder, so we'll have to Heli-coil this one. The rest of them look okay. Hopefully we can get this one out without having to do a Heli-coil, but that's yet to be seen. I'm going to try heat and vice grips, and hopefully that'll do it. If not, then we'll end up having to drill it out and redo it. But I'm hoping that the heat will do it. There it is. Anyway, it's broke loose. We'll see. I don't know, I thought it was gonna start, and it did, but it's not looking too good. Oh boy, it's got to be tight. All right, gotta have some more heat. We might accidentally get this thing. when you get the heat on it, it came out, but it stripped them. So I guess we'll be putting 2 helicoils in. Okay, I'm gonna cover it up. Fire blanket so it can cool off slowly. Okay, so we've got 2 to do, and I'm just going to set it up pretty much the same way I did when I was trying to get it out. See if I've got enough room here to get this in like that. Let's see, this one and this one, I think I'm gonna have one behind either way I go. I think this is better. Better for me to be able to see it, I guess. Just so we can kind of hold it down. So no matter whether we need to do cylinder work or not, we've got to do this. So we'll just go ahead and get that done. That'll be off our mind, or off my mind anyway. Let's see, I think I can set that about like that. I got this one and this one. Anyway, I've got plenty of room. Okay. Okay, I've got this, I think, centered up. I just took a piece of coal roll here and lined it up the best I could with the hole that we've got there. So we'll go ahead and get our drill bit installed. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just put a little tap magic on that. Just a little further. Yeah, looks good on that one. So we'll go ahead and tap our hole now. Okay, get our tap in here, and I've got a tap follower here just to keep everything straight. I've got to get my wrench in there first. Get a little tap magic. I'm going to have to get some, I think. And we'll start tapping our hole. Okay, I think I'm almost to the bottom of the hole. I'm just going to go get back in there, and there's just a little bit left. I just don't want all those chips and filings down the bottom when you get there with the tap, and that's where we're at right now. Just so you don't smash all that stuff into the bottom. So there's our drilled and tapped. It's ready for the Heli-coil. I'm going to go ahead and line up on my other hole, this one right here. And we'll get everything done, then we'll get this out where I can get to it, and we'll go ahead and install the Heli-coil. Okay, looks like we're pretty well lined up here again. think that is pretty good. Now I think I want it down about a half thread further. It's kind of tricky because this is recessed already. See what that looks like. Yeah, better. And there's our stud. We'll just run a tap through the remainder of them, just to make sure everything's good and clean and as it should be. Using a bottom tap. Yeah, that one's good. Okay, that's all of them. Okay guys, just not happy with the repair on one of these holes. It was just too loose. Here is one of the heli-coils that I just put in, and this is a good solid repair. You know, it's good. And all the rest of these, I went out and I went ahead and run a tap through them. But this one here, it was a little bit more oversized than the other one was. And I just went ahead and pulled the heli-coil out. It was just too loose. You had too much rock. I should have showed you that before I pulled it out, but I was just so disgusted with it. So what I wanted to do was keep the repair as small as I could. And I went through some of the alternative methods. Even with a twin cert heli-coil, we would have been looking at it a little bit bigger. So I went with an EZ-Lok. See, that's going to fit just about into the recess here. It will fit into the recess. And that, you know, because of the webbing here, I just don't want to break through inside. I know you can't see up in there, but if you look up in between the fins, you see this. And I just didn't want to overdo things and drill too big a hole and cut too big of threads that we just don't have a good repair. And I think that this is the smallest in diameter on the outside that I can come up with. And these are, this is a 10 millimeter, just like the other one was. And it's gonna be a little bit short. I thought about running two of these inserts, but I just hate to tempt fate, you know what I mean? There's plenty there. This is going to be plenty to hold that. The original holes in here were a lot deeper than this stud is. And I'll just let me show you that. See if I go to this one. See, we've got 31.5 millimeters of thread in there, basically. And here's the stud. So you've got a lot more threads in there than you need to start with, because you only need 20 millimeters of threads. And I think this is going to be fine. You've got 6 of these holding it down. This is going to be a good repair, and it's going to be more substantial, I think, than a twin cert would be. And a twin cert is a lot more expensive. You've got to have another installation tool. You've got to have another tap, another drill. It's about 120 bucks for a twin cert to fit into here, because you've got to oversize this hole even again. So I feel like this is going to be our best alternative, and I'm just going to go with one, because I just don't want to tempt fate and go any deeper. You know, it's just hard to tell by looking down in here whether that gets less and less, you know, whether it tapers. And, you know, I don't even know what this is going to be like, but I can tell that this is going to fit into the recess. So that's what I'm going to do. I wished I could just do the Heli-coil, but it's just not going to work. That was unacceptable. It had so much wobble. You know, not that much, but it had quite a bit. That's unacceptable. You know, this is one of them that was undamaged, and you can see it's got a little rock. And this is the one I put a Heli-coil in, and it's tighter actually than these, but this one was a lot looser. So I'm going to get set up in the mill. We're going to drill this one, tap it, and install the EZ-Lok. Okay, before I do that, I want to be able to center that up good, and this is the drill bit from the Heli-coil. So we're at about 0.404. So I want to make something so I can line this up. I've got a piece here that's at 0.437. So I'm going to put this in the lathe, and that way I can chuck this up. I can go ahead and turn it down 32 thousandths and use this as my alignment to make sure I'm in the center of that hole again. We've got to try to keep that as centered as possible. Okay, this is the drill bit that we use for the Heli-coil, and that's a good tight fit on the chuck end. So that's what we want. So I'm gonna trim that down 32 thousandths on the lathe over here. Okay, so there should be our center. So let me get set up to drill. Okay, we're all lined up here hopefully, and Ready for cut. Want to kind of take a peek at stuff here. Okay, I just kind of wanted to look before I proceeded to see if I'm just about centered in the recess here, just like this. And it looks like I am. Looks like what's left is just about the same on the whole circumference. So I feel pretty confident that we're doing good thing here, so let's proceed. Okay, that should be good. Let me get set up for the tapping operation. Okay, we're there. Looks good, what I can see. Okay, there's our hole for our insert, and near as I can tell, everything looks okay. I want to get the insert in and wait a little bit, and then I'm going to come back in and make sure that we've got this recess just like we do on the rest of these. I'll measure those and try to make sure it's the same here. So I'll get some brake clean in here and clean all this up good so the Loctite will stick, and then we'll put the insert in. Okay, let's see now if we can get this insert started. I know you can't see much here. This is kind of a tricky little deal here. I got to get a little extension. Okay, just to check these, kind of depending on where you check it at, it's around 0.115 on the unmolested ones. And I got about 0.118 there. I think I'm going to stop. Really, actually, what you want is you just want this piece here to be recessed, like this. It just fits underneath that surface. And that's what we've got there. So I believe that we're good, and we'll just give that the 24 hours, I think it is, to set up. When you screw that in there, it I guess affects that Loctite that they put on it, and it tightens up. It's just like adding regular Loctite, supposedly. So you should not be able to pull it out without heat after 24 hours. So I'm going to consider that repair good, and it really does feel good. It's very little movement there, and the Heli-coil took care of the other one. So I like that. And the good thing about it is it takes a smaller hole and then a smaller thread than a lot of the time certs and the key locks. Those are all good systems, but if you don't have the room, it's not going to work for you. You're going to break out of it, and it's not going to do you any good at all. So this was a good avenue to go for this project. Okay, now we're going to check for the piston to cylinder clearance here, and I've already done this, but we'll go through it again. It tells me that I want to check the cylinder at 0.2 inches or 5 millimeters above the exhaust port. And let's see, I don't know what's better here. Yeah, we'll try this. It looks better to me. I don't know what it does to you. But you see the decompression port here? It's just below it. Just below the port is where we want to check. I've got it marked with a blue marker there. And while we're here, you can see the insert repair right here. And the Heli-coils right here. Both of them are opposing one another. Okay. And when we check the piston, it tells us that we want to check it at 1 3/4 inches above the skirt. That's huge. Most of them are, between 1/2 and 3/4 down here. But they're wanting 1 3/4 inches above the skirt. So right there is where we are, where I've got the blue marker. It's a couple thousandths bigger if you get on down here. So it doesn't have as much taper as the smaller ones do. It does have some, but anyhow, we'll measure right here. And we're at about 3.226. 3.226. And then we check our cylinder. And again, that's going to be, I'm going to go right next to that exhaust port and just a little below it. I'm going to set my having a little trouble getting it set the way I want it here. Okay, got her tightened up, and now I'll rock that out. That should capture the size right there. And we're at 3.231. So really, it's 3.230, just a little over. So if you go at that, we're at 4 thousandths clearance, and they're wanting you to be, if you're setting one up new, they want it to be set at 0.0029 to 0.0033. So just about 3 thousandths. And that's about right for one this big. But the other thing we need to do is go check for taper. And I've already got, let me make sure this is set up right. I think it is. Okay, on your taper, we don't want to be any more than 2 thousandths. So if you're more than 2 thousandths anywhere, this is going to be hard to see. Okay, we'll check right here. Okay, we're at the 5 there. Come up a little ways, and we're about 2/10 above it. Then I'll go a little deeper. I got to stay out of the ports though. Okay, so we're at about 5.5, 4.5 right there. So we're still okay. We're still within 2 thousandths. Okay, right at the 5. Go a little deeper. Oops, get out of the port, Dale. Okay, about 4.5. Turn it here. And we're at about 4 7/10. A little deeper. 4 7/10. So nowhere are we even out of round 1 thousandths. So we're good. The only player is that we're just a little on the loose side. But to me, I don't want to bore this cylinder and take away its life. So me and the customer have talked about this, and what he's going to do is pick up a standard piston, a brand new standard piston. And we're hoping, and I think we will, we've probably got close to a thousandths wear on here. I'd say this is where most of our wear is, because there's very little taper or out around us in here. So if we can pick up a thousandths, or even, you know, close to a thousandths, we're going to be well within. And I think that's the way to go. You know, we'll use a hone on here, and we'll go ahead and break the glaze. I'll use a ball hone if I've got one that big. I'm not sure that I do. And you know, we'll go ahead and break that glaze and check everything again. But I really hate taking away the life from the cylinder. So that's what we're going to attempt to do, and hopefully we'll be successful at it. I've done this before many times, and a lot of times you can get a thousandths or a thousandths and a half in a brand new piston. So that's where we're gonna try that. When this machine was here and I did the Will It Run video on it, I did not hear any looseness, so to speak, in this cylinder, especially for as old as it was. And I wanted to say it had around 5,000 miles on it. So they must have been good miles, well oiled, and so on and so forth. So I think we're good. When the new piston comes in, we'll take another peek at it. But right now, we're going to call it good. Okay, guys, there you have it. I think our bore is, I really think that a new standard piston is going to be the right way to go here. When that machine was here 6-8 months ago, when I did the Will It Run video on it, it did not sound too loose to me. All two strokes have a little bit of a ringing sound. If they don't, they're probably too tight. But it was not excessive in my opinion. And what we just gauged here was at the very worst a thousandths over what they want you to set it up as a brand new bore. The 0.0029 to 0.0033. So essentially 3 thousandths, and we've got 4. And we went through and checked the run out and the taper, and there is essentially no taper. There's a little bit of run out here and there, but we're well within a thousandths. Most of the time it's within 3/4 of a thousandths. So we're good in that way, and I don't think we're going to have any trouble. I think the right fix is to get a brand new piston, and we're going to gain a thousandths, and we're going to be right in the ballpark again, and we're going to save this man's cylinder. As far as the inserts go, I was not real happy with the one I took out. When it first broke loose, I thought, man, this thing's going to come loose. I just got to keep with the heat and keep backing it back and forth. And I tried to do that, tried to take my time, and you know, you don't know what's going on inside there. And it does just like it always does. You know, the sealant that they put on them is like on the very bottom, you know, last few threads, and it just sticks so tight that when you break it loose, it pulls those threads loose. And then as you get it to start coming up out of the hole, it takes all the ones above it out with it. And by the time you get to the top, you're more egg-shaped because you start getting some rock in that stud. And I'm satisfied that's what happens with these. And when I put the Heli-coil insert in that, I knew that it went in too easy. And then when I got it in there and I tried it, it was just too loose. I know it wouldn't have held So that was not the proper repair. So then I went on a kind of a shopping scheme trying to get the smallest diameter repair thread that I could. I didn't want to go any bigger than the recess that is in this head were around them. And that's what I found in the EZ-Lok. Everything else was going to be a little bit beyond that, or a lot more beyond that. A twin cert, a pin lock, I forget, they call that maybe a keen cert, the twin certs, all those were going to be bigger. And I just didn't want to risk drilling a hole bigger and tapping, because all that takes up material. And if you break through anywhere, then you've got a problem. So that was the reason I went with that one. I believe it's going to be a good repair. I've used some of them in the past, and not in this situation, but other situations, and they've always worked flawlessly. So we'll give this 24 hours to set that Loctite up, and I'll put a wrench on it and see if I can get it to turn. If it doesn't turn pretty easy, I'm satisfied with the repair. So that's pretty much it. You'll be seeing this one again when we get the new piston in. We'll go through the honing and the inspection and measuring again, just to make sure. But for now, I'm happy with this one and how it's turned out. So hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.